Man, dude, stop digging up your nose, man. Nobody trying to see that. But what is going on, everybody? What is going on? Welcome to the Cerberus Get Iron podcast. I am your host, Christian underscore CFS, and we got your co-host, Mr. K Camp, making all that daggone racket. Like he over there playing tennis with his daggone mic.
You hear it in the chair? My phone down. What up? My bad. What up, my good people? Shalom, my Kim, to my good people, and shalom, my Kim, to my bad people. May you learn to become good, because why? Because we need good people in this world. Draft is over.
Yeah, it is.
Let's
about time.
Go. Right? 4 months of anticipation, prognostications, everybody throwing shit at the wall to see what sticks. Everybody wrong, half of it. Shout out to Peter Schrager, who I saw get 29 out of 32 picks correct. Shout out to Pete. I don't know what that's got to be, like 88, 92%. I don't think anybody got that was that good. Shout out to Peter Schrager.
So pretty much, let's gonna get straight to the nitty gritty. Everybody out there, welcome in. We're going to get straight to it. We're actually going to go round by round of the rookie mocks of like the actual draft prospects and what ended up happening, who got drafted well, seeing how we like their fantasy value, and we're just going to actually go with it. So sit back, relax, and then enjoy. And we also got somebody, a nice little special guest here again. He ain't no stranger to the streets. He is your favorite author of Burn the Playbook. Welcome in, good sir. Welcome in.
Welcome on in. Come on in.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
I was about to say something else once you said that, but I ain't gonna say it. Hey, don't nobody care about no Duke Blue Devils, dog.
Yeah, those Blue Devils don't do nothing over here.
The guy over there. I got the ego.
Look, man. Hey, just remember, you always gotta hold. Coach K gotta hold that L for the rest of his life. he gonna take that to the grave with him. That's all that matters.
He's still the ghost. We're gonna call it that. Go ahead, Christian, man. Let's get this show on the road. It's gonna be a long episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be a long, but we're gonna try to make it nice and fast and sweet and everything and good to eat. Pause. But let's go and kick it off right now, man. You know, the number one overall pick, Mr. Caleb Williams, probably the first QB taken off the board in Superflex, because he does have some nice weapons out there. Kind of wish Justin Fields had that option too, but he does not. But Mr. Caleb
I'm
Williams,
off Justin.
Huh? You off Justin?
I'm off Justin.
I'm off Justin too. They fucked that boy.
Yeah.
They give him no weapons like that, man.
But so what are your thoughts on Caleb? Like, what is he going to do for the fantasy community? Like, we already know he's probably going to go pick like 1.02 up in Superflex and 1 QB leagues. Personally, I see him being drafted up in like the back half of the first round, unless you need a QB. Then you would take him early half. But that's just my thoughts. What are y'all thoughts?
So I would say, well, first of all, the way he's set up, he's essentially bust-proof as a fantasy player right now. He's got every weapon imaginable. Not only did they added, DJ Moore was added to the Bears last year. They had a Keenan Allen in the offseason, and they drafted one of the best receivers in this draft. So essentially, unless he's just the biggest fluke we've ever seen in college football to NFL history, he's bust-proof for fantasy. Like, he's going to give you top 12 quarterback numbers and probably higher than that. Now, if he doesn't, that could be something with the coach, Eberflus. I still have not seen enough for him to continue to keep his job anyway. I really felt like when they decided to get rid of Justin Fields, they probably should have got rid of Eberflus as well and just started everything fresh. But we here, so we gonna see. But as far as fantasy is involved, I feel like Caleb Williams is essentially bust-proof. Like, he's gonna at least be a top 10 to 12 quarterback, and that's bare minimum. I mean, really, the ceiling is he probably could be a top 5 just based off of what's around him. I don't know if I would take a chance on him for myself, but I couldn't fault nobody for going with him because of his situation. Like that's probably the best quarterback situation in the league right now. Like the only other one that you might could say is better is maybe Tua, and that's because Tua has a much better coach. But aside from that, I mean, it's like the ideal situation for a quarterback.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, a rookie quarterback is coming into a situation that he is in right now. No, ever in history that I can think of, rookies come back with what he has around it. They kind of rebuilt their offensive line and drafted another offensive tackle later on in this draft. Like you said, DJ Moore, Keenan Allen just got a rookie wide receiver. Even got Swift. He is set up to succeed. He should not fail. Like you say, he would be a QB, top 12 QB coming out. He would be the first quarterback in Bears history to throw for over 4,000 yards. You can book that sometime in his career. If he fails, yeah, it's coaching. I think it's coaching more than him. So I mean, I ain't got nothing really to say about it. If he was low on your list, I'm sure he moved up for what they did on this past weekend.
Yeah. So let's go on and go to that number 2 spot. Ain't enough to say about Caleb Williams, but let's go and talk about Mr. Jaden Daniels going to the Washington Commanders. Good spot, good feeling. If we're going through the actual lineups, like personally, Superflex, I'm probably going to take him 1.04 because I still like Malik Neighbors, even though he does not have a QB just to throw him the ball. He's probably going to get force fed because Daniel Jones stinks.
What you mean he ain't got no quarterback? He got a quarterback.
He got a half a quarterback. He has a half of a quarterback.
He ain't got. Oh,
that's how y'all feel.
That's literally and figuratively.
He ain't got no. We can talk about Malik Neighbors whenever we get to him. Right now, it's all about Jaden Daniels. But in Superflex, I'm probably going to take him at 1.04. In 1 QB leagues, I'm probably taking Jaden Daniels probably in the second round. And if I am taking him in the first, it's just for the rushing upside. And that's probably pick 111 or like pick 112 in 1 QB leagues. But that's just me personally. Because I think he's going to be running for his life. But I do like the little Cliff Kingsberry offense that he's going to be running in, like the running gun, the shotgun. Let's go get some scary Terry air raid offense. I think it's going to do really well in it. As long as they are able to develop him how they should, which I think they will, especially under Dan Quinn, since he's had that Matt Ryan type of QB. But yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to say. Go ahead, Mr. Porterfield. I mean, your favorite author.
So I'm probably a little higher on Jayden than you are. The main reason is the Cliff Kingsbury connection. I think to what Cliff was able to do with Kyler, and when Kyler was on, he was on. But we also know that Kyler had some shortcomings, mostly because he was short when it came to certain throws and things in the pocket. Jayden isn't going to have those issues. Jayden's also going to have a better number 1 wide receiver than Kyler had at the start of his career. The year that the Cardinals started off as one of the best teams in the league, I think that was 2021, 2022. 2021. They had won like their first 10 games, 11 games, right? And so, if Jayden can come in now, one of the things that I like about Jayden, so when he was at Arizona State and everything, obviously he was a lot less accurate. He didn't do as well. Left, went to a new program, and immediately you saw improvement. The fact that you saw improvement means that there's something there that if he's coached correctly and he has the right support, he can be very, very effective in this league. I think he's a better runner than Kyler as far as just pure runner. I think Kyler is more of a good scrambler. I think so. So Kyler is more of a like a Russell Wilson type scrambler. Like play breaks down, I can make something work with my legs because I got speed. Jayden is more of a Lamar Jackson rusher. Like if he catches you, he's not as good as Lamar. I want to make sure I say that. I know sometimes people hear me say things and
Yeah.
try and gaslight me into believing I said something I ain't say. But he's not the rusher Lamar is, but he's more in that vein. And I think with the weapons that he's going to have at receiver, with the running game that he's going to have Austin Eckler as a rusher. And I think with the Cliff Kingsbury system, he's going to be able to be very effective early on. Not saying that he's going to go out and win the division or anything like that, but you're going to see a very competitive Washington team, at least offensively. On defense, they lost some pieces last year, but then they added some pieces back since then. So, we don't know what we're going to see with Washington, but an argument could almost be made between taking Jayden and Caleb, who you would take first if you push the upside, his rushing upside, as one of the main factors to taking him. Because people think that the Commanders don't really have weapons. Scary Terry, four different quarterbacks or five different quarterbacks? Five different quarterbacks.
Yeah, something like that.
1,000 yards every year he's been in the league. Every year. So he's a bona fide number one wide receiver. Jahan Dotson is a guy that is very talented and is going to do some things. And then they also, added some talent in the draft as well. So, I think an argument could be made if you account for the rushing upside that Jayden could be almost as valuable, if not more valuable, than Caleb in fantasy.
Yeah, I would probably take Jayden at 2. I still would probably take Caleb at 1, Jayden at 2 with the rushing upside, and JJ at 3 as far as my quarterbacks where they landed, and how I think they would do. Obviously there were 6 quarterbacks taken in the first 6 rounds, first 12 picks. I mean, history says only two gonna be good, only 2 gonna make it. I'm gonna say 3 because I kind of want to lean Jaden Daniels. I like Jaden. I like what Washington's doing with the new ownership. They drafted Ben Sinnott and they got Luke McCaffrey. Somebody made that call to get Luke in the 3rd round though. But anyway, I'm glad at least it went out and added a wide receiver, a tight end in the 2nd round. So he got some weapons, and I think he'll be pretty good with Cliff Kingsbury in that offense. So yeah, Jaden Daniels, he's probably my 2nd quarterback in Superflex, or in a 1 QB draft.
Okay. Let's go to the next one, Mr. Drake May. Thoughts on Mr. Drake May? Personally, I think this is a good stash guy. Me personally, especially if you're in Superflex, I think he will be decent in New England. Personally, I hope he actually doesn't start right away. But if he does, if he doesn't, then he will learn. I think it's going to be a different type of offense ran. A new regime is in there with Gerard Mayo. If we're looking at where to draft him in Superflex, probably he's going to be 2nd round. Me personally, maybe even late 2nd. But in 1 QB leagues, probably not until the 3rd. Even that, maybe in the 2nd if somebody wants him that bad. But that's my ideal thoughts of where he's going to go based off the weapons that he has. I think he'll still be a good QB. He just needs time just to sit back and understand the actual NFL game.
So, as a Carolina fan, I watched Drake play and watched him in college. He came behind Sam Howell, and he did great things his first year as a starter. A little less so his following year because he lost some of his weapons.
He did.
But he's a guy that he can get it done. He's a guy that can get it done. I felt the same way about Sam Howell, and I still feel that way about Sam Howell. There's some guys that they're not great at any one thing, but they're good at a little bit of everything. Like he's mobile enough. His arm is strong enough. He can make the throws good enough. He's got some anticipation things that being able to throw receivers open that you might want to kind of consider. But aside from that, I mean, he's in a system in a situation. Well, actually, we don't know what this system is going to look like because it's the first time the Patriots have not had Bill Belichick in over 2 decades. So we don't know what this system is going to look like, but we can kind of go off the attributes of the player themselves, and we know Drake he's a dog. He's a guy that he don't mind getting it done with his legs or his arms. So on a low end, and I say low end, people probably think this is a weird low end comparison, but a Justin Herbert type. I'm not as high on Justin Herbert as I was before, but the reason I say low end is because he can make throws, he can make plays, but he may not get you over the hump right away. But as far as the stats and stuff like that, he'll get you the stats. On the high end, you're looking at maybe a Josh Allen type because he does have a little bit of that rushing upside. He does have that that prototypical quarterback build that you kind of want. Like you want a big guy who can move, who can make the throws. He doesn't have the arm that Josh Allen does, but you could get any mixture of those types of results with Drake May, and the good and the bad, because Josh Allen also can be reckless with the ball as well. And so I'm like I said, I'm a fan of him because I was a Carolina fan, and I think that taking him in fantasy is a very, I don't want to say a safe pick, but it's like he's a guy that like the ceiling isn't as high as the first 2 guys we talked about, but
Right,
his floor is probably a little elevated as well. Like you could get like middle of the road results, or you can get higher end results as well. He's probably the one that I don't think is, I don't see him busting like that. But at the same time, Carolina has not been known to produce sustainable quarterbacks as well. So that's something else you got to consider.
I don't know. I don't know what the New England Patriots are doing. I mean, I don't know what to expect from them. I don't know. I think I agree with my co-host. They need to sit him for at least the first 8 games. Let Jacoby Brissett run the show. But then they go get Jalen Polk in the second round. What are we doing there? I think they could have waited and got him. Surely, yes, okay, you were high on him, but at round 2, I don't think anybody saw that coming. And then they come right back and get Javon Baker. I mean, Polk is more of a slot guy. I can make the argument that McMillan is better than Polk from Washington. I don't know their evaluation. I don't know. So just stash Drake May, put him on the taxi squad. Don't expect much out of him, especially in year 1, because I don't know what to expect from the New England Patriots. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I love the fact they went and got 2 wide receivers, but I just don't know. I would have picked Polk at 37. I didn't see that. I think there was more talent there than him. But yeah, go ahead. Next guy. Who we at? Malik Neighbors?
Marvin Harrison. So the number 1 overall pick in all drafting platforms, rookie draft, well, Superflex and 1 QB. It is Marvin Harrison Jr. We already knew who this guy was from the very beginning. We know what he's going to do. pretty much like he's the 101. Like if there's like really enough said to say about him. Like I don't have to say much. Like y'all should already know to draft him 1.01. If you do not, then it's just because you got 1.02 and you just want to be that guy to say, hey, I didn't draft him at daggone 1.01. I took this other person instead, just so you don't have to do it. But I don't have much to say about Marvin Harrison. Like, I think he's going to be a bell cow. I think he should at least be a top 10 wide receiver this year with ease.
Oh, yeah, he's wide receiver 1 coming. Yeah, he'll be wide receiver 1 for sure.
But especially with him and Kyler getting up on that main connection. But I ain't got enough. I don't have a lot to say about that, but because I already know he's going to be good. He's going to do his thing. Don't have to just. He's the type of guy you just sit it and forget it.
I mean, yeah, there's not much to say on him. For me, and I know this is controversial. If I was at 1.01, I would be the guy to not take him. And the reasoning is not about even any of his performance stuff. It's more so I just have a preference for a certain type of receiver, and I would take Neighbors over him, even with the questions at quarterback that some people have. That some people have. But yeah, there's nothing much to say. I mean, there's not much that you can take away from his game that won't translate well in the NFL. Like he does everything the way that you would want a wide receiver to. Yeah, I mean the only thing that would make you have some questions is the fact that he didn't do any combine pro day stuff. Other than that, you don't. If you watch the tape, there's nothing to really have questions about. Like you see what he is and what he can do. His role with the Cardinals, I think he's going to be the number one. I don't know if he does top 10 numbers this year in the NFL because I don't know what the Cardinals are going to be. Kyler being healthy is definitely a big thing, but in general, I just don't know what the Cardinals are going to be. And him being in the NFC West, it's going to be, tough. But I mean, definitely, regardless of what he does his rookie year, he's going to definitely shine throughout his career. He's going to have a good career.
Yeah, we knew this was coming. It was predicted, prognosticated. They would get him. They needed him. They needed number one. They needed someone to help Kyler. He will get 130 plus targets this year. So, yeah, I think he's the number one in a 1 QB rookie draft. Take him 1-on-1. I know the explosiveness of Neighbors. Marvin lacks that. He lacks that kind of yak ability, but yeah, I don't think too hard on it. Just draft Marvin Harrison Jr. in my opinion, and 1-on-1 in 1 QB league. Easy peasy. You can go straight to the next one.
All right, man. Next, guys, is the guy who we wanted to talk about in like past couple of bass. We're talking about Malik Neighbors, everybody, man. The dude who is and should be the 1.02 in all 1 QB leagues. Dude he ain't got a QB, but he does have a guy that can get him the ball. Don't mean that he's the best, but he's probably the only option right now. So he should get a lot of targets similar to how
his first year,
his first year rookie year OBJ. But then I'm seeing how Dayball's actually going to use Neighbors. Might use him similar to how he used Stephon Diggs a little bit with his first year. Everywhere, and that's the only weapon that they have right now. Like it's just Neighbors. So you got to figure out. You got to design ways just to get him open. scheme. Hopefully, he can learn all three positions in the wide receiver room. But yeah, I ain't got to say much about Neighbors. Like 1.03 up in Superflex, but then or he could be 1.02 depending on how you're feeling about Caleb
Right.
Williams and like how you want to do it. But 1.02 up in one QB leagues, that's how I'm feeling. Like regardless, if you're in, you got both picks 1.01 and 1.02. That's what I'm going. 2 stud wide receivers of the future for you just to build your franchise around.
So sliding past the Daniel Jones slander, you
He ain't
know,
got a QB, dog.
because it is easy to target Daniel Jones just because at the end of the day, results are what matter. And we look at what he did, regardless of the situation. He hasn't done much. His best wide receiver in any given season, I think, has been Darius Slayton. Um, because Daniel Jones was drafted 2019. I think Odell was gone by then. I'm pretty sure Odell was gone by then.
Yeah, he was gone.
So Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton have been his best wide receivers ever. He's never had a wide receiver of this caliber. Even when they drafted Kadarius Toney, he couldn't stay out of trouble and stay on the field. They drafted Wandale Robinson. He got hurt right away. Jalen Hyatt, they started to see a little bit of something with Jalen Hyatt last year, but even with that, the offensive line was so bad they really couldn't establish enough of a passing game to matter until later in the season when they added some offensive line help. I think that Malik Neighbors showing up for the Giants is going to be and it's going to be transcendent. It's going to be transcendent for the Giants offense. Um, it has been not since Odell have they had a wide receiver of this caliber.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and because with Darren Waller being questionable, might as well count him out. Darren Waller being out of it,
Right.
they're gonna have Hyatt as a deep threat to take things off the top. Malik Neighbors is gonna eat. He's gonna eat. And when Daniel Jones was given a system and was given the ability to sit back and actually throw and play quarterback, he played well. Like we saw what he did. He played well. The offense moved well. They won games, and so if they can even get to 75% of that and give him an opportunity to actually throw, Neighbors is going to be the rookie that outperforms everybody. He's going to outperform Marvin Harrison his rookie year solely because he doesn't have as much competition. I know a lot of people think about the fact that like Marvin Harrison's the pure number one, and he is going to be the number one. But Michael Wilson last year was actually pretty good. Their tight end in Arizona. Their tight end in Arizona is started to come alive last year, and so there's gonna be plenty of volume for Neighbors to be able to be that guy. So you're talking about like breakout rookie. He would be probably my wide receiver pick for breaking out as a rookie. I think Marvin Harrison is going to do well. I expect him to do well, but I think doing well for him could be like 1,100 yards and some touchdowns. Neighbors could have 1,400 yards because of the fact that there's really nobody else for him to compete against. And I think Daniel Jones, when he has a actual receiver to throw to, can get that done.
Okay, my turn. Yeah. So yeah, I think big play Neighbors. Gonna be big play Malik. He gonna eat in that offense. I think Dayball's gonna find creative ways to give him the ball, get him open in his face, let him do what he do, make it easy for Daniel Jones, and let Neighbors do all the hard work really. And I think he is going to boom. Caleb I only have expectations. So after the draft happened, I kind of saw where everybody go, and I still haven't went through everybody yet. But my synopsis of this draft is to temper expectations because I didn't love where everybody went. So temper expectations. The only three people that I have big expectations are for Caleb, Marvin Harrison, and Malik Neighbors. Everybody else, I don't know. I'm gonna temper expectations on everybody else because I didn't love where everybody else went. So I say all that to say, 1, 2, 3 Neighbors is gonna ball out this year, and yeah, he's gonna be big play Malik this year. And
All right,
going
y'all.
forward, even with Daniel Jones, we gotta figure out a way to speed this up though.
All right, man. That's everybody. Y'all heard it first here. Big play Malik.
Big play Malik.
Big. So, man, the next guy is the guy that had a head scratcher. We don't know what's going to happen, but the logic was actually kind of understood it, and we are all talking about Michael Penix Jr. Personally, we know where he went to the Atlanta Falcons. The GM of the Atlanta Falcons had to sit there and actually write an essay before he left on the reason why he chose Michael Penix just to give to the owner.
Are you serious? Although I see he was on board, he signed off. No, you making up stuff? What's going on?
Did you see the way that Arthur Blank needed some clarification after that pick?
I mean, well, we don't know what that was about. We assuming
I don't know.
that's what that was.
I'm just saying, dog, there is no way you take a guy that. But personally, I understand why they did it because it makes total sense once they did it. If people don't know already, pretty much they said they took Michael Penix Jr. because they know for a fact that they will not be drafting this high up in the draft anymore in the next 2 to 3 years because they have Kirk Cousins. So they wanted to get their QB of the future. They said that they had Michael Penix as the second best QB on their draft board. And they was like, well, I guess just can't let them pass him up. So they took Michael Penix Jr. If we're talking about Superflex, he's sort of in the similar boat to well, no, I wouldn't even say in the similar boat to Drake May because technically, if Kirk Cousins can't go, he gonna be the new Michael Penix. Everybody's gonna be the new Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins ended up messing up. He gonna take over. Pretty much, I'm using that same analogy. Whenever RG3 was drafted, we had Kirk Cousins come in and end up taking his job. We're gonna have Michael Penix is gonna be the new Kirk Cousins. He's actually gonna take Kirk Cousins' job. So highs are flying for those dirty birds up in the Falcons. If we're giving about like where we're gonna end up drafting him, like 1 QB leagues, pretty much not even thinking about drafting him at all, really, unless I need a QB of the future just to stash him. Sort of like what the co-host said, probably put him up on a taxi squad just to leave him there. But if it's super flex, that's the only way I'm going to draft him personally. Probably late second, maybe earlier second, maybe. It depends on how deep your Paul's y'all drafts go. But that's enough that I'm gonna say about Malik. I mean, not Malik. Michael Penix Jr. Go home and take it away. Your favorite author. What you got to say about Michael Penix?
So there's two trains of thought with Michael Penix. There's one that the Falcons were smart for going ahead and getting their guy, and they know that they're not going to be drafting this high again, so they needed to get their guy now for the future. The other thought is that the Falcons were dumb for drafting him and paying Kirk Cousins. I fall in that second category. I think it was a bad pick. Not that Penix is a bad player. I think Penix was one of my favorite quarterbacks. I feel like I said before on the podcast, I would have loved for him to go to a high passing offense because I felt like he would thrive with somebody like a Dave Canales just anywhere where he was going to be able to throw the ball a lot. The reason I really don't like this pick is because Penix was probably one of the more pro-ready quarterbacks. As in, he was probably one of the more I'm ready to actually play in the league. A lot of people forget he's been playing for a long time. He's got the experience. By the time his rookie contract is over, he's gonna be almost getting close to 30, just about.
Yeah, he'll be 28.
Yeah, and so a guy like that who's already close to pro ready doesn't need to sit for years. He needs experience. He needs NFL experience. So for me, he's not draftable in fantasy at all. I wouldn't touch him at all based on his landing spot. Um, if I had to draft him, it would need to be for a league where I could hold him for a few years and I absolutely don't need him. Otherwise, I wouldn't waste the roster spot on him. I mean, even knowing, unless Kirk gets hurt, but you don't want to draft players because you're like, I mean, unless it's like somebody who is going to get hurt, like, and even then, that's something you really don't want to bank on. You don't want to bank on this person's going to get hurt, so this is who I need to have, unless it's the handcuff. And most people don't get handcuffs to quarterbacks. Um, the landing spot in regards to what's available to him once he does start is awesome, but it's just he's not usable as long as Kirk is there, and they paid Kirk for what 4 years, 3 years.
4 years.
Three.
4 years.
That was 3.
Well, they could
Well,
probably get off of him in the fourth year, right? Is that what it is? They can get off.
They can get off after year 2.
Yeah.
Okay, they can get off
I
him in year 2.
Man, you could get off.
I mean,
after
even
next year.
then,
Depends how much money you want to swallow, pause. But
right? Even then,
He's
I
only
mean,
guaranteed $100 million, and that's over the first 2 years, and then after that,
it's like
right.
62,
So
37, and 10 or something like that. Yeah.
So when you have a quarterback who's closer to pro ready, but you're still making them sit for 2 years, it's not a situation I would want. I I like the Falcons team for fantasy for other reasons, but I don't like the Michael Penix pick. So I'm watching Michael Penix altogether for me in fantasy. I can't get any value out of him this year, and I have a better chance of trading for him in the future, and kind of hedging my bets and trading for him later than trying to draft him, hold him, use up a roster spot, and potentially hurt myself, later on. So I'm passing on Penix.
Okay. Yeah, my go. So I understand. I understand what Raheem Morris told me and what the GM said and why they picked Michael Penix Jr. Like they said, like you said, they wouldn't be able to be in this position again to draft higher. Okay, so why you pay Kirk Cousins $100 million then? Like you should have. There's no way in the world I figured and could assume that Penix was going to be the fourth quarterback off the not the fourth quarterback off the board, but he wouldn't go in the top 10. So you could have traded down out of the 8th spot. Everybody in the world thought that was a reach. I think he'd come into the draft on that Thursday. It was like he's gonna be a 2nd round pick. Why would you pay Kurt $100 million? I'm telling you what's gonna happen. So training camp. I don't know if Kurt gonna be ready in training camp. They're gonna see Michael Penix out there bringing that motherfucking peel. They'll be like, damn, it's over here. But you paying Kurt $62 million. You just gave him $50 million guaranteed and signing. What are we doing? Dumbasses. Oh my God. I promise you I can be an NFL GM. If this is the requirement, I can do it. It just doesn't make sense for you to pay him $100 million and draft Penix. Like you said, he's the most pro ready. You could have just paid fucking Sam Darnold $14 million on Jacob Brissett $14 million for 1 year. Let him sit for 6 games, and then bring in Michael Penix. But you paying him up like $100 million? Are you serious, stupid? I don't understand what these GMs be thinking. What I say, these dumbass GM was some dumbass shit. And you try to predict that before the draft? I don't think so. No, stupid. It just makes no sense to me. I'll try to get behind it. Yes, you won't be in this position again with Kurt. Yes. So why you give him $100 million? I don't know what Minnesota was going to offer him. I want to say like 33. I can't remember what the offer was for. They had to beat Minnesota on, but it damn sure won $100 million guaranteed. They couldn't afford that. Why are you doing
Right.
it? So Yeah, I don't know. He's the most pro ready. You don't want him to sit for 2 years. No, they're gonna see his ass flinging that pill during training camp because Kirk's still gonna be hurt. He's gonna be on the pub or whatever. And then you're gonna cause a mutiny. Let Kirk lose 3 games in a row. Bring in Penix. The fans gonna want Michael Penix. But I'll bring him $62 million this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
next person.
When you pay them that type of money, you're almost forced to play them, and it's like
Forced to play him.
If I'm gonna put myself in a position where it's like so I would have done either one or two things. Either one, I would have never paid him, and then I would have drafted Penix. I would have, like you said, taken the Sam Darnold or shoot a Gardner Minshew, something like that, and you could have paid them. You could have paid them above what they would have made and still much less than what you end up paying out. Or if I'm going to pay Kirk, I'm going to pay Kirk, and I'm not going to use that draft spot on a quarterback. I'm going to just use it on something else to help Kirk. Because I mean that's essentially what you should have done. Is they could have gone offensive line, or I don't know what else they need, but like they got the weapons. They got plenty of weapons. They could have taken a pass rusher. They could have done anything else to make the team better. And I think some teams get so quarterback centric. The quarterback is everything. And you don't team build. And if you're not team building, no matter what your quarterback is, unless you happen upon another Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, it doesn't matter who your quarterback is if you don't got the team around them to help them win. Justin Herbert, everyone thought he was the prototype. And he came in breaking records rookie year, but he didn't have a defense to support him. And guess every time he would put up 4-5 touchdowns, teams would always come back on him at the end of the game because they couldn't stop nobody. So it's like you gotta build a complete team. And Atlanta on offense, they check all the boxes. They got everything. Right. They don't need nothing else. So I would shore up the defense. I would make sure I got everything I need in coaching, and then that's where I would focus. I wouldn't try and that. I feel like they put the cart before the horse trying to get Michael Penix. Like it wasn't necessarily a need, and it wasn't something. I mean, they could have gone later in the draft and got another court. If they just wanted to get a young quarterback to follow behind them, that would have been a Joe Milton pick for me or something like somebody who really needs time to develop. Penix doesn't need that much time to develop. He's more ready now.
Yes.
Give him 3-4 games. Right. Give him 3-4 games. And then let him loose. But, if any situation comes in where, let's say, either like you said, Kirk starts losing, or if Kirk gets hurt again. Kirk ain't young neither. If Kirk get hurt again, and then all of a sudden Penix comes in and he went 3 straight. Good luck trying to convince fans that you're going back to Kirk Cousins. Especially if Penix is like, because Penix ran like a 4.4 40, right?
Yeah,
he's fast. He's fast.
Yeah.
He makes people that not fast look fast.
Right. So it's like there's a lot to his game that Kirk don't have. Penix got the arm, he got the athleticism and everything like that. He could, like everyone knows, he's a good pure passer, and he's an athlete. So if we know that, he could end up long term being the best quarterback in this draft. But we won't know until 4 years from now because he got to sit behind Kirk Cousins for a few years, and then by that time they got to figure out who we gonna pay, because by the time Kirk contract is up, they're gonna have to figure out how we gonna pay Pitts, how we gonna pay London, how we gonna pay Bijan, and it's like, and then you got to pay Penix too because he gonna be on at least year 3 of his contract. So I mean, they could take out a 5th year on him, I guess, since he's a 1st round pick, but it just wasn't a smart pick to me. Like I'm not on board with this was a genius pick. I don't think that at all.
You could have used that $100 million on someone else in free agency and help shore up. Even if you take them at 8, and help shore up some other areas. What are we doing?
Right.
All right, let's go to the next one. We are going to talk about Rome Odunze, wide receiver who went to the Bears. This pick is really iffy on me, only because of he's going up in a situation where he's going to be the third target. But as a player, I still like him. Still will draft him high just so I can wait until and see what they're going to do with Keenan Allen and then his fate. Because we already know Keenan Allen's going to be there for at least 1 year, but then after that, we don't know what they're going to want to do. Most likely, they're probably going to end up. Hopefully, they end up doing good, and they do not give the coach an extension because that'll be actually kind of bad, man. I'm just gonna go with a brand new coach, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I ain't got much to say about Rome Odunze. I like him as a player. I think he's gonna be drafted at least up in one QB leagues, up in the top 4 picks. Me personally, that's where I would take him regardless. I don't care what other people are saying. Just me personally. So people that have 1.03 and 1.04, if you do have the ability to get Romeo Odunze, make sure you get him up on your team because you're going to be thanking me later. But in Superflex, I'm probably going to take him 1.05, 1.06. Great range to actually get him. Like what I was saying before, I think he's more like a stash, so it's more like a championship team guy that needs, if you do not need a wide receiver. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to give you impact right away, you're probably going to end up using like a J.J. McCarthy up in this slot, or maybe like a Brock Bauer or something like that at the 1.05 and 1.06 in Superflex leagues. But I'm just going to stop talking about these other players. Just let go on and you can go and do your thing right now, Mr. Your favorite author.
So Rome is kind of a conundrum for me too. He's one of my favorite receivers in this draft. I really like his skill set a lot. So at a glance, you look at it and you say, okay, Keenan Allen's already there. DJ Moore's already there. He's got to be wide receiver 3. That's, at a glance, that's what you would assume. There is an opportunity. I don't think he will be wide receiver 1, but I think he could push for wide receiver 2 in that offense.
Who's 2? Who's 1?
So in my perception, I think it will be Keenan Allen, potentially Rome, then DJ. I think DJ Moore would become the wide receiver 3 in that offense if things align the way that we would like for them to. There's certain parts to Rome's game that I think would separate him from DJ Moore a little bit. Keenan Allen is not. He's a technician. Keenan Allen's a technician. His thing is he's gonna get open. He's gonna catch the ball. DJ Moore has always been, to me, a guy who would benefit from having someone on the other side of him. So Keenan Allen being there could propel DJ Moore as a receiver. We could see the best DJ Moore season we've seen in a long time.
We just saw last year.
You just saw that last year.
And we could see an even better step this year. You got to think that offense still wasn't that great.
No.
Caleb Williams, what was it, 1,300 or 1,400?
13, 8 touchdowns. He had career highs and everything. Receptions, yards, and touchdowns.
So there's a chance that Keenan Allen being on the other side, because we don't know how Eberflus is going to use any of them, to me, Keenan Allen is the one true alpha. Like, we know he's an alpha. Regardless of whatever the situation is going to be, he's going to be on the field and he's going to get open. What we don't know is how the other 2 are going to be used in conjunction. Are they going to be running 3 wide receiver sets? Is Rome going to be coming on or off the field? And, so because we don't know that, there's a scenario where, like I said, Rome could be the wide receiver 2 and DJ Moore could be pushed down. Or there's a scenario where DJ Moore could elevate more because of the other, people on the field. In any situation, like I said, this goes back to what we were saying about Caleb Williams being bust proof, but I like Rome's landing spot for him now and for the future. This year he may not crack 1,000. There's a chance that happens, but there's also a chance that, like I said, because Keenan Allen can get hurt as well. We've seen that over the years, and so if he steps in and he takes over for Keenan Allen, and it's him and DJ Moore, then it's the battle for that top spot. So I don't know. I know how I feel about him as a player based off his production, based off of his skill set and his talent. I know how I feel about him as a player. What I don't know is what are we going to get from him in that Bears offense? That's the question. So, like Christian said, I'm definitely taking him in that top spot. In those top 5 to 6 spot. But I just don't know for certain. Like I said, you're basically you're throwing the dice on this one. There's a range of outcomes. He's at least, we know he's going to produce. Regardless, he's going to produce, but we don't know is how much. So if you take Rome and you're expecting him to be your wide receiver 1, you could be taking a gamble. But if you're taking Rome with the thought that he's a talented receiver and an offense is going to eventually feed him and feature him, I mean, he's definitely still worth the pick. It's just, it really comes down to your need. Like, if you're not someone who's like in desperate need of a wide receiver, I'd definitely take him. If you're someone who is desperately in need of a wide receiver, you might want to, if you have the ability to target, one of the former guys that we talked about, Neighbors or Harrison, I would go that route instead. But I don't think you can go wrong with Odunze either. I like him as a player. I think he's in a good spot. I couldn't predict what his production is going to look like this year.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to be patient after this year. That's what I was saying. Patience. You're gonna have to work for patience in this draft. Temper expectations. Patience for first year in Rome, and then let Rome be that guy. I think he'll be that guy after this year. But this year, you don't expect much from Rome. Hopefully they do run through wide receiver sets. I'm high on Rome Odunze. One of my favorite prospects coming out. But him going to this offense with DJ and Keenan already there. Yeah. Be patient. Draft him, but be patient. Don't temper expectations. Expect more from him next year.
Like, so on we could end up with the Jaxon Smith and Jigma situation. Yes. That's the low end for me, where we know the talent, we know what he can do, but because of what's already on the offense, this is what we expect. So year 1, you could end up with the Jaxon Smith and Jigba, where it's like, we have some flashes, we have some games, but because there's already alphas already there, like he doesn't have the opportunities that Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison are going to have. There's only so many targets to go around. So that's probably my floor for him is we're going to get a Jaxon Smith and Jigba situation where, he doesn't come in early on and they take some time to get him acclimated, get him in the system, and then we start to see some stuff, but it doesn't translate to much fantasy value.
Well said. I agree completely.
Totally agree. Let's go to the next position. We are talking about J.J. McCarthy, quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. He is not a Kirk Cousins, I will say that. He might actually be better than Kirk Cousins. But we will see what ends up happening. We'll see if his number 1 target will eventually sign that contract extension. Hopefully he is not a holdout.
Man, stop being a baby boy.
Hopefully it's not going to be a holdout.
Get your money, dog. Get your money, dog. They don't love you.
You're going to get that regardless.
They don't love you in Minnesota. Go somewhere else.
They're trying to make you the highest paid. What is the problem, bro? You tripping. What do you want?
So
you want to go to Kirk, take your ass to 11 in.
It's not much to say about JJ McCarthy. I think he's already gonna be the heir apparent to Kirk Cousins. He's gonna go in off gate as QB1. Is gonna do his thing. If we are talking about one QB leagues, probably the same scenario. Probably taking him in the second round. He's not worth the first round pick. And then in Superflex, he's probably going around like the 1.5, 1.6, maybe even like 1.7 or 1.8 range, like between 1.5 to 1.8. Let's just say that. Kind of listed them all out anyways, but that's kind of the range of where I would draft him in Superflex. Don't really have much to say. As long as his number one target comes back, I think that's where you want to draft him. If we know that his number one target will not be there, we will probably drop him down a little bit lower in Superflex leagues, maybe like 1.09 and like 1.010, only because we don't know what Justin Jefferson is going to end up doing. But we have hoping that he's going to actually come back and do his thing in the league and be the number one wide receiver like he's been for the past couple of years.
So JJ is kind of like Drake May for me, in a little bit. Now there's some differences in their game and differences in their evaluation. One of the big differences in the way I evaluated JJ is the lack of throwing volume that he had. He just wasn't asked to throw the ball much. Yes, he thrives in like the play action situations, which Kevin O'Connell is gonna dial up for him. But whenever you have a guy who I think he was averaging like 24 pass attempts or something like that a game, like something really low, like he didn't throw that much, and so when he doesn't throw that much, and you look at it, and you're like, okay, well, on paper his numbers look good, but that's because he wasn't asked to do as much. It makes you have some questions. Now, when you look a little bit deeper, you see things like his third down efficiency is really, really good, which means he's a chain mover. Chain movers are always good in fantasy. They stay on the field, they move the ball, they get in the end zone. That is one of the things, his third down efficiency and his mobility. He's actually a little bit mobile himself as well. Now, when I use the term mobile, so there's running quarterbacks and then there's mobile quarterbacks. You can be mobile and not be like a freak athlete or anything like that. Like, he's a guy that if it's 3rd and 4 and he rolls out the pocket, he can run and get you a first down. Which you want to see some stuff like that from a guy like that. But third down efficiency, he's got some mobility. He's a chain mover, and he's an effective operator of an offense. Meaning, if you give him an offense, he's going to execute. He may not throw for 400 yards a game. He may not throw for 4,000 yards a season. What he will do is move the chains, execute, do the things you need him to do. He's going to operate within the system. He's kind of, from what I've perceived, he's kind of what people said Brock Purdy was, or what like Jimmy G was before. Like, you ain't got to do much. Just all you got to do is just do what the coach tells you to do, operate what the coach gives you, and you can win. Guys like that are sometimes good to have in fantasy. And with the weapons that he's going to have, even if Justin Jefferson doesn't come back, he still has Addison, he still has Hockenson, and now he has Aaron Jones. So he's got plenty to work with. I could definitely see him having value in fantasy. Like I said, I was out on Penix, but I would definitely, if it wouldn't be a first round, but I would definitely take a run at McCarthy if I needed a quarterback in later rounds, just because I know that as long as he's healthy, as long as he's got weapons, he's going to execute. He's going to win games, because that's one of the big things. He's a winner too.
Right.
Even when you take it back to high school, he was a winner. So he's a guy that if you put him in the game, you put the ball in his hands, and he's going to win. And sometimes that's what you need, is a guy who's going to win.
Yeah, I got JJ as he's probably my number 2 quarterback because of where he landed. I believe in Kevin O'Connell. I believe in Kevin O'Connell was a former quarterback. I believe he was, but he don't have a top 3 quarterbacks. Obviously, I'm assuming that they will bring back Justin Jefferson. He needs to stop playing, sign the paper, and keep it moving. I think that he will be the second. I've always seen whoever landed in Minnesota has the second best chance. Well, I might say the first, but now that they got Rome, I'll say the second best chance to be great. So out of the 6 quarterbacks, I got Caleb. I kind of want to go with JJ as 2, and then Jaden Daniels. But either one of them, they're interchangeable for me. I love them picking up JJ McCarthy. Shout out to the Vikings. They came back in and got Dallas Turner. Pretty good for the first 2 rounds. I like that a lot. So I'm kind of high on JJ, even though he won't actually do much. I think he can do it. Brady wouldn't actually do much when he was at Michigan 20 some years ago, and look what he turned out. I think it's in him, and I think Kevin O'Connell can get it out.
Okay. Well, let's go to the shocker, the one that nobody thought that this guy was going to make it into the first round. We're
Best
talking about
available.
Mr. Bo Nix getting drafted by the Denver Broncos. Yeah, he's gonna play. He's gonna play right away. He's gonna play. He might start, but according to your list, he might be number 3. Maybe 3 or 4, depending on how you look at it. Because I'm saying it only because of startability, like seeing what he has and how Sean Payton wants to run his offense. They did end up getting Troy Franklin, adding to that depth chart. Like I really think Troy Franklin's going to be the number 3 wide receiver. I don't think Josh Reynolds is going to play any role. I think they're going to end up swapping. Just Troy Franklin's just right now. I'm looking at our lads. They actually have Troy Franklin penciled in as the right wide receiver on the second string. But I think Bo Nix is. It's going to be interesting to see what they actually end up doing in in Denver. I don't think it's going to be bad, but I know he's going to have to throw like he did up in Oregon, because if we see the Bo Nix from Dagon Auburn, that's probably one of the worst picks ever up in Sean Payton's history if he comes out there and be the Bo Nix from Auburn.
Did he move up? Did he move up your draft board where he got drafted? And knowing he's going to probably start day 1. Did he move up your draft board? Just curious. Either one of y'all. Both of y'all, actually.
Yeah, he moved up mine because he's going to start, but I didn't expect for him to be in the first round, to be honest with you. If he was going to be in the first round, it was going to be like the back half of the first round, and like somebody trade him back in just to get him so they can have that 5th-year option. But you can also see the difference within this draft. Like the next QB that was drafted wasn't until like the 5th or 6th round, and that was Spencer Rattler. I think there was like a record that was set, like 130 something picks before like the next QB was taken or something like that, which is very it's really shocking, like very shocking to me personally. But I'm gonna stop talking about Mr. Bo Nix. I'm not really high on him, but I will draft him only because of he has a startability. Like he's gonna be in a nice offense with Sean Payton. Sean Payton's probably gonna get the best out of him. And then let's not also forget that they did give him some QB competition up in Mr. Zach Wilson. So he gonna have some competition a little bit. But enough said. That's all I'm saying.
So Bo Nix was never really somebody I was ever considering for fantasy. I think he's going to be fine. But I think he's going to – if they drafted him with the thought that this is our quarterback that's going to get us our next ring, I don't think that's him. Can they win games with Bo Nix? Yeah. Can they make the playoffs with Bo Nix? Sure. Can they win a playoff game with Bo Nix? Sure. Yeah. It won't be this year. But in general, I didn't think that there were many. I don't think that the Broncos were in a position to really win with any quarterback that they chose. If they brought Caleb Williams in there, I still don't think they would have been in position. Just because I just think I think they jacked up their finances and they're trying to fix a lot of stuff now, and they're trying to fix and build at the same time, and I think that's going to work against them as a team. So for this year, I think they'll be kind of a middle of the pack to low performing team. I think Bo Nix is going to have a lot of growing pains. He's going to have some good games and some bad games. I can see them being a sub 500 team. Just because I think right now. I would say they're the worst team in their division right now, easily. And then I would say Bo is the worst quarterback. So I'm assuming that Gardner Minshew wins the Raiders job. If Gardner Minshew wins the Raiders job, Bo is the worst quarterback in the division. And there's just a lot with coming in year one trying to win. They don't have the best weapons. You say Marvin Mims is their top receiver, and he's still, to me, kind of, he's okay. I don't think he's great, but I think he's good enough. But the best weapon they have is probably their running back. Javonte Williams is probably their best weapon. Cortland Sutton is a good possession, catch 50-50 contested catch guy. He's good to throw it up and come down with a touchdown, but you got to get into the end zone. Him and Russell had kind of formed a connection last year, and I don't know if Bo is going to come in and be able to hit that right away. That's something that comes from years and knowing ball placement and having chemistry with your receiver. So I think he'll be fine, but fine is not the goal. Okay is not the goal. So I wouldn't. Making timely throws and things like that are important. He may not turn the ball over, which is important. And he could probably be a chain mover for you as well, but that's a much harder offense. That's going to be a much harder offense for him to find success in right away. So he it didn't bring him up or down for me. I guess that's a long way of saying that. I see the value in him being a starter, like Christian was saying. But beyond that, there are other quarterbacks that I would take a shot on before I would draft him. Excuse me. If I was Sean Payton, I probably would have drafted Spencer Rattler instead of Bo Nix.
Spencer over Bo Nix, you would have just fell back and just got him.
I would have probably done Spencer Rattler instead.
He went as a sixth quarterback. That's what I had him rated as a sixth quarterback out of those top six. But I didn't think he would go in the first round. He went to the best situation for him. I think that Sean Payton will play to his strength, get the ball out quick, making short passes. They got to go deep. He didn't go deep with Drew Brees. They got Troy Franklin. A lot of Troy Franklin's passes were at the line of scrimmage or very damn close to the line of scrimmage. He got an okay quarterback. Like I said, I wouldn't have Bo Nix. They will be looking for a new quarterback within the next. I'm gonna give them 3 years. They're looking for a new quarterback because they're gonna realize he ain't it to get us over there. He ain't it. So, he went to 6th quarterback. Cool. Does he move up my draft board? He probably moves up in front of Michael Penix Jr. Not because of talent, because Atlanta Falcons paid Kirk Cousins $100 million. And what you gonna do with that? He's moving above Drake May. With above Drake May for me too, because I don't know what is happening in New England. So he moves to number 4 for me, but that's still not that great for me.
So you got him in front of Drake May?
I got him in front of Drake May because at least I know he's starting, and I just don't know what's going on in New England. I don't know what they're doing. I don't really like it. Drake may gonna sit his first 6 to 8 games anyway. So
You think so? I think he's gonna start.
I don't
you
think
think
he's
gonna
going.
win it?
I don't think
gonna
he's
start.
going. Not 8 games. I said I'm hoping that Jacoby actually starts 4 games just to give him that time to see
I'm
the
gonna give
game
him
speed. But
6 to 8.
drafting him 1.03, yeah, he gonna play. I'm hoping he doesn't, but just so he can learn.
I mean,
Yeah,
he don't start.
He gonna learn by them
We
reps though.
all agree that he gonna play in the first year. It's just I don't think he gonna start before week 6. Unless Jacoby just sticked up the joint and go 0 out the gate, which I don't know who they play is possible. I just don't
it's
know
just
what it is.
Jacob. So see what it is for me is like Jacoby's so limited,
He
you
is.
know,
For sure.
and what's going to end up happening is you get into camp and you get into OTAs, and then Drake starts doing the stuff that he does,
So on that big arm,
and yeah, and then you look at your situation, you say we obviously can't start Jacoby over Drake because of what Drake is doing, and
he
so
don't have no,
I mean
he ain't no separator. He
I
don't have weapons though. Like even trying to let him throw the ball down the field. Go ahead. Just
I mean, so if you go with the rookies that they got KJ Osborne, who's a good receiver. I know a lot of people don't remember him from the Vikings, but KJ Osborne had a few weeks where you were like, oh man, Justin Jefferson, who? Because of the fact that he was going off. So they got some weapons there. The running situation is a different thing, but they got some weapons there, and like I said, Drake is a little bit mobile himself, so they're gonna. I feel like as long as Drake don't get in there and just not learn the playbook and not pay attention and not get a grasp of things, if he goes in there and he has like an 80% grasp on the offense, I see no reason why you wouldn't just roll him out and let him get the reps.
I mean, I hear you.
If you-
I hear
if
you.
you're gonna,
Might as well.
yeah, if it's kind of a damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like if you're gonna be bad, you gotta think one of two things. Either one, like we're gonna be bad, but we're gonna let him get some reps, or we're gonna be bad. We want to shield him from it. Do you really want to? If you start off with them, you got to stick with them. Um, kind of like what they did with Bryce Young and the Panthers. Like started with Bryce, roll with him, just let him get his lumps and learn, and we'll build for next year.
Mhm.
Um, if you start off with Jacoby and you know the season starts to get sunk, you don't want to be like, okay, well, we're gonna throw Drake in now because it'll be kind of like a what's the point thing, for him as a player and for everybody else involved as well. Like if you want to give your team a good shot to win, you drafted this guy to help you win. I wouldn't sit him for more than a game or two. If you're gonna sit him like at all, I wouldn't sit him for more than a game or two. But man, you got Bo over Drake, man. That's wild,
Because I
man.
don't think they're gonna start week 1. That's why. I think Bo gonna
Okay.
start off the gate. Not because of talent. Let me be clear.
Okay. All right. All right.
Not because of talent, just because I think, he gonna start.
Got you. Okay.
All right, man. We are going to the next guy, man. It is Mr. Safe Pick by the Las Vegas Raiders,
Yeah,
Mr.
take
Brock
that ball.
Bowers.
For sure.
I don't think there's enough said to be said about this person. He is the number one tight end in the organization of the Raiders. It's going to be quite interesting how he is compared and paired up with, and see what packages Luke Getsy's going to end up developing. Hopefully, with Michael Mayers there as well. So hopefully you don't have Michael Mayers and then Brock Bowers. up on your team together. And then, like, if you do, it might be a good scenario for you. It might be that Aaron Hernandez and that Gronk. So it could end up being something similar to that. But if we're going back to where we're going to take Mr. Brock Bowers in one QB leagues, I'm probably going to take him based off the landing spots in other positions. It's quite interesting, man. It's kind of hard. Depends on team needs, but if I'm just going off the rankings, probably going to take him top 7. Only because there are some other picks that people did land up in good spots that I would take him over. It's just me personally. But also when it comes to Superflex, probably going to take him still up in the first round because I like the talent that he's going to end up doing. They drafted him 13th overall, a lot higher than what Michael Maris was. So I'm pretty sure they're going to have some type of packages that's going to get him the ball and also probably help get Devontae Adams open as well. So enough that I got to say about Mr. Brock Bowers. Go on, do your thing, pass it along. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I ain't gonna talk about my own fantasy situation, but nah. So as Christian alluded to, I'm one of those people who have Michael Mayer, and I actually, originally I was bummed. I was like, oh man, this kills any fantasy relevancy I have. But a lot of teams now are doing the dual tight end, and both of them can be fantasy relevant if you're in the right situation. One is going to be more relevant than the other, but both can be fantasy relevant. And by fantasy relevant, I mean, one may get you, double digit, like 15 points. The other might get you 10 or something like that. Touchdowns are going to be very important. But with Brock Bowers, the talent's there. I mean, he's got all the gifts. He's got the juice, and so we know that he's going to be heavily utilized in the Las Vegas offense. We don't know exactly what the Las Vegas offense is going to look like because this is Antonio Pierce's first year starting as the head coach. So, he's getting to develop the program and do his own thing like that. But
who's the OC?
What I will say is, man, I'd have to look that up. But there's a few things. They invested in the offensive line. They drafted another tight end, so now they have 2 tight ends, both who were supposed to be really talented. And then, like I was saying before, if Gardner Minshew ends up winning that job, then you do have a viable quarterback because, regardless of how you feel about Gardner, he's a guy who can win games for you. He can. I saw a graphic the other day that showed a comparison between him and Trevor Lawrence, and they've both started in about the same number of games, but Gardner's thrown for more touchdowns and fewer interceptions. And so, take that, and take that information, do what you want with it. But Brock should be the first tight end off the board easily. It's not even a like there's no other tight end that should go before Brock in any fantasy format that you have. Like he should be the first tight end gone. I like the situation. I like the opportunity that he has. The landing spot, of course, is frustrating for me as a Michael Mayer owner. But like Christian was saying, if we get a Gronk, Hernandez type situation, or if you want to use something a little more frequent, maybe like a Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox type situation. One is going to eat more than the other, but that doesn't mean that Michael Mayer loses its fantasy value. If you're someone who owns Michael Mayer, I would take a run at Brock Bauer as well, just because you don't know what setups and what lineups and packages they're going to be used in. So They could both be on the field at once. There could be goal line packages meant only for Michael Mayer because, he's, more of a blocker than an athlete. I mean, he can do it all, but he's more of a blocker. So you never know. Between the 20s, it may be Brock Bowers, and then red zone situation, it may be Michael Mayer. But we like the talent. We like, we think that he's going to get a good opportunity where he's landing, and Gardner Minshew. If he ends up being the quarterback. I mean, not to knock Aiden O'Connell. I just don't have any feelings about him one way or the other. I know that Gardner Minshew can operate an offense effectively if asked to do it. And he's got enough weapons around him between Devontae Adams, Michael Gallup, Zamir White, and then now Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. I don't know if y'all knew they signed Michael Gallup today, but
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's another weapon for him. So it's like there's a lot of opportunity there for Bowers to be successful, and like I said, kind of common sense that he's the first one off the board.
So when they took him at first, I was like, "What the hell are they doing?" But they took the best available. Are like, okay, now let's figure this out. Again, go back to my original point. Temper expectations. This is going to be patient. This is going to test GM's patience this year. But I do think that Brock Bowers is going to probably use as a weapon. Hopefully, Leggette use him as a weapon. They can still put him in the slot. I'm hearing the two tight end, what is it, 12 personnel?
12.
Running 12 personnel with two tight ends, but Brock should be used in the slot. He should be used as a weapon. They should move him around that thing. They should be hella creative with him, and he still should be able to eat. And it still should open up for Devontae Adams. But again, as you look at the other team after him, like where else could he have done that'll make you feel great? The Colts. Well, you don't really fully trust Anthony Richardson, so you don't want to go there. The Cincinnati Bengals. Well, they never been great using their tight end, so even if he goes there, still he ain't gonna shoot. He's not gonna shoot through the roof. The Miami Dolphins. They don't use their tight ends that great, so like I don't know where he could have went. Where it'd have been like, oh shit, let's get all Brock Bowers. I'm loving where he went. Obviously he wasn't going at 5 because we know the Chargers were going Joe Alt or Malik Neighbors. So. Even though he went to the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know if there's another spot that he could have went to where I could be like, okay, maybe the Rams because I think they don't have a tight end. Maybe them. Outside of them, I don't know where else he could have gone. And I'd have been like, okay, he's gonna eat like we want him to eat as far as fantasy. So it is what it is. Y'all out there temper expectations. He should still be. 1.07 in Superflex after 3 quarterbacks, 3 wide receivers. Then take him non-Superflex, top 5. Don't overthink it. Just exercise patience. Who we got up next?
Up next, we got your boy, Mr. Brian Thomas Jr. I don't know if anybody heard about the podcast, like a previous ahead, like a couple podcasts ago. Mr. K Camp called this a while ago, and to see that the Jacksonville Jaguars were able to trade back and still get their guy was very interesting. We see Brian Thomas Jr. coming in there to fill the void that Calvin Ridley left open. This is going to be a good talent out here. Really high on Mr. Brian Thomas Jr. I think he can end up taking over that number 1 spot up in the Jacksonville Jaguar offense. We might end up getting another QB as well. With that a little competition down there, putting
another
a little fire up.
Trevor?
They put a fire up on Trevor right now.
Who they get? They get Mac Jones, that guy.
Yeah. So they put Mac Jones down there. So it's gonna be a little it's gonna be a little competition down there up in training camp this year. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. But yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. Think he landed up in a great situation. It's gonna be quite interesting seeing him go in some 1 QB leagues at 1.05. Just saying 1.05, I can see that's where he might end up going in some situations. Superflex, he's probably going to fall out into the back half of the second round. I mean, not of the second round, of the first round. But really high on what Brian Thomas Jr. can end up doing for the Jacksonville Jaguars in Duval County.
Duval.
That's all I got to say is Duval. But go ahead.
So this situation was kind of similar to the Atlanta situation for me. The difference is that I'm leaning more towards the incoming talent versus who they brought in beforehand. So Gabe Davis, they paid Gabe Davis to come in and be a receiver there. It's almost like I just feel like, why pay him if he's not gonna disrupt the two people that you already got there. And then, like Christian Kirk is an effective wide receiver. He's gonna great number 2 wide receiver to have. I know they paid him like a number 1, but he's a great number 2 to have. He's gonna show up for you. He's gonna get open. He's gonna catch the ball. He's gonna get downfield. He's gonna do what you need him to do. The next role is the number 1 role, and so Gabe Davis is not a number 1, even though some of his stats may trick you into thinking that he should be a number 1. I used to be a believer in the Gabe Davis season because I saw that you see the talent, you see the flashes, but it's not stuff that is he can't consistently produce at that level. And there's some flaws to his game as a receiver that would prevent him from really being a true number 1. And so because of that, Brian Thomas is in a prime situation, like Christian said, to be the number 1 there. I just wish they hadn't paid Gabe Davis before drafting him, but maybe they just wanted some depth. I still think Zay Jones is a good wide receiver 3. He's gonna have wide receiver 3 weeks where he gets you 5 catches for 50 yards, and that's really what you need from a wide receiver 3. You don't need a wide receiver 3 giving you 100 yards a game. You just need a guy who, my wide receiver 1 and 2 are covered up, somebody to bail my quarterback out, and Zay Jones is going to be better at that than Gabe Davis is. Gabe Davis is really a poor man's deep threat, but he's not really. I think he benefited more so from Stephon Diggs than his own talent really kind of getting him open. Like, flashback for y'all, if you think back to how you remember how Juju Smith-Schuster was getting off when Antonio Brown was still there, and then as soon as AB went away, it was like, what happened? That's kind of what I think Gabe Davis is. I think he's fool's gold. And I think that they kind of wasted their time paying him. But I think Brian Thomas should fit in quickly and should ascend to that wide receiver 1 spot very fast.
So let me just say what both of them are trying to say. He's the Jag. Pun intended. He's just a guy. Gabe Davis is just a guy. I agree. I don't know why they paid him, but Brian Thomas Jr. can do things that Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Gabe Davis cannot do. I just think we needed to come in there and just beat out Zay Jones and everybody else behind him. If he can come in at number 3 to start the season and get on that depth chart week 1 at number 3 or better, sky's the limit. I think his ceiling is higher than Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis. If you want to get anybody on that team against Trevor Lawrence, in other words, So another weapon for Trevor Lawrence. He has another big body. He has a big body receiver that should help him. Like when he had T. Higgins back at Clemson. And we all knew it. Once they didn't get Kyler really back, they wanted a big body receiver on the outside. They went and drafted him. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. Dougie P. I believe in Dougie P. I sort of believe in Trevor Lawrence. Let's see it, Trevor. You need to bounce back this year, brother. Because everybody questioning your transcendent type of player. They want to call you generational. They question it out here. They give you weapons.
Hey.
Let's see what
He
you
off
gonna do.
He off the train for me too.
He off the train. Hey,
he off the train for me too. Hey, right now the ESPN depth chart has it as Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas, and Christian Kirk.
Is that one? Gabe is one?
So they have Christian Kirk as the 1. They have Gabe Davis as the 2, and Brian Thomas as the 3.
Okay.
What I envision as the season progresses as it's going to be Brian Thomas, Christian Kirk, Zay Jones. Yeah. I just don't see it. Yeah. And I think, like I said, for a wide receiver 3, you want a guy who is like, hey, bail my quarterback out in a clutch, and like top coverage is on. Sauce Gardner is covering my number 1. My number 2 is locked up. Help me out here. And you need a guy who understands zoning, understands gaps in zones, understands how to get open, understands how to read the situation to give this quarterback some leeway. And I think Zay Jones, because he's a more experienced receiver, and I just think he's got more in his toolbox than Gabe Davis. I don't see Gabe Davis. Yeah, I just don't see Gabe Davis starting. I'm saying by like week 8 is gonna be Thomas, Kirk, Jones.
Oh, okay. So you got Zay over Jones. Okay, wow. I mean, you got Zay over Gabe who they just pay. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think Zay Jones should be the wide receiver 3.
Okay. I just know BT.
Yeah.
Is going. Yeah,
but BT got to earn it though. He gonna have to work his way to wide receiver 1. But I like I said, by week 6 to 8, somewhere in there, he gonna be the alpha. Christian Kirk gonna be the 2, and then a smart coach I feel like will put Jones as the 3.
Yeah, you can't teach what Brian Thomas gonna do. 4-3-3, 6-4.
Right.
You ain't gonna be able to teach that. You're gonna be like, okay, yeah. Go ahead, Christian. Who we got?
All right, man. The next person is, we got to talk about him. The blazing speedster himself going to a great situation. Mr. Xavier Worthy out of Texas going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody, this is not Tyreek Hill 2.0. This is a different built type of wide receiver. Just going to get it out your head.
Great landing spot, though.
But you sure?
Great landing spot. Great landing spot, especially for people that are drafting up in the top 6 in 1 QB leagues. I can see him going within that range. Might slip into 1.07, depending on how the 1.06 GM is doing. I think he's going to do really well up in this offense. Personally, I don't think he's going to come in and he's going to take Kadarius Toney's job. Sky Moore is probably already on the bubble.
You say you don't think that?
I said he is going to take.
Oh, okay. My bad.
He is going to take Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore's job just once he gets off the plane. He already did. He already took it. They was the ones actually handling his bags, taking it to like his new hotel room. But they drafted him for a reason. They've been missing that speed. They are hoping. They're pretty much throwing darts. Every year they're throwing darts at a wide receiver, praying and hoping that it's going to stick, to see somebody that can open up the field situation, especially with Mr. No Catch McGee is there. What's his name? MVS.
Oh, you don't.
So he is gone. They did not re-sign him, so that opens up another vacated targets for him. So I'm really high on Mr. Xavier Worthy. I think he's going to do something nice this year within one of the top QBs. So if you do have him, or if you are able to get him, think about getting him, depending on looking at your situation on how you want to build your roster in fantasy. But great pickup for the Kansas City Chiefs. What are your thoughts?
You said you high on him. How high are you on him?
Well, it depends on which range are you talking about.
He gonna never give you a straight answer.
Well, the co-host knows me very well. Very high on him.
So there's two trains of thought for me for Xavier Worthy. Right? So one, it was the fact that when he was in college, he still wasn't the big dog on his team. That was Adonai. Adonai was the big dog on his team. He still got off. He was still productive, but it seemed like the offense was more so geared for Adonai. Now, that could have been the way that the offense was set up.
Yeah, so the offense was set up because we talked about this. You remember, Mr. K. Kemp? We talked about this on the last podcast. So Quentin Ewers was a one-read type of guy. Like, he looked and he only saw one half the field. It didn't make a difference with the other half. The dude could be like wide open doing the YMCA out there. That's what he could be doing. And then still wouldn't throw him the ball because he only saw one half of the field. Hence the reason why his job might be taken by Mr. Manning there.
Arch Manning, yeah. So you know, and that being the case, I get that. But with his speed, because Worthy can run routes. Yeah. Usually when you get these speed guys, they usually aren't the best route runners. They're just faster than you, so it's like you just can't beat them to the spot. He actually can run some routes as well. So I definitely think, especially in the Chiefs offense, he's going to find success. My concern is his weight. When these NFL corners put hands on him, when they press him at the line, is he going to be able to fight off of that? Because, running a 4.2 is great, but, how often are you getting 4 seconds to get down the field? Not often. And so, go ahead.
He does. Well, I was going to just chime in just real quick, but he does have one of the best coaches out there that's probably going to scheme him open, similar to how they did Tyreek Hill. So I don't think he's just going to be sitting there on the line. He's going to be running, doing like jet sweep, something like that, maybe. Then run to the left, then just come back around the backside of Patrick Mahomes, similar to like what Tyreek Hill did in Miami a little bit. I can see them doing the same thing with Xavier Worthy. I physically do not see him just standing right there unless they know it is zone coverage.
Right. And so when I think about the way that teams have been defending the Chiefs over the past few years, like we talked about, I talked about recently how Pat Mahomes' average depth of target has been dramatically cut over the past few years. Like, he's throwing shorter passes, is more about getting completions and getting yards after the catch versus actually throwing downfield. And so a guy like Worthy, being that he's a speedster, he would be able to, as long as he's schemed open, take a catch and catch it 10 yards and book it up the sideline. Turn a 10-yard catch into a 30-yard gain. But he still has the size thing. And so it's like, because he's going to have to come across the middle, he's going to have to do certain things. And depending on how teams defend against it, he could have some trouble. But I wouldn't let that deter me from drafting him high. I still, we see The speed, we see the landing spot. The landing spot is really what puts him over the top for me. It's not even so much about his talent. It's the mixture of his talent with where he landed. If he got drafted anywhere else, I wouldn't be as high on him as I am. Like if he went to New York or Washington or something like that, I wouldn't be as high on him. The fact that we're partnering him with Mahomes makes me feel like he's going to outperform his expectations. Um, but there's still with that sense of, but he is a little guy. So, like Kris was saying before, we got to temper those expectations just a little bit. We can't expect him to be Tyreek Hill, even though there's a chance that he could be. Never know. I mean, Tyreek Hill, we didn't know Tyreek Hill was going to be Tyreek Hill until he got into the league, and then he became what he became. So, um, I'm still taking him high, like you said. Definitely first 8 to 9 picks somewhere in that range.
That's
But
super flex. What about single QB?
This is in
I
super
said that's
flex.
super flex, or that's single QB.
No, that's single QB. I got him in the first eight picks in single QB.
Really?
Yeah.
Who you got in front of him then?
Right, because I don't know if that sounds right.
And single QB?
Yeah.
Who are y'all taking? What 7 players are y'all taking before Worthy? We got Bowers.
Yeah. 3 wide receivers.
So
4. Caleb.
You taking Caleb in single QB before Worthy?
No, I'm probably not. No. So that's even more. So that's 4. He might be 5 or 6. You said 8, 9.
I'm saying within the top 8. Yeah, within the top 8. As in anywhere above top 8. Yeah, anywhere above top 8.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm taking him at 8.
Just so y'all know, people out there, all 3 of us are in a league together. So your favorite author is not trying to give his accurate.
He's trying to play coy. Boy, we can see through that.
Heck yeah, nah.
See through that.
Within the top 8, yeah. No, he would go within the top 8.
Okay. I mean, you say that Worthy wasn't the big dog in Texas, but he had 20 more receptions, almost 200 more yards than Adonai. Only thing he didn't have more than Adonai was touchdowns. So, I mean, he was 11-5, but he had 75 to 55 receptions, 1,014 to 845. Because it made me go back and look because I was like, I remember Quinn Ewers just loving Xavier Worthy over Adonai Mitchell, but yeah, I think that Worthy going to the Chiefs was the best landing spot for him. They're going to use him in the Mecole Hardman. What's the other guy, number 1? What was his name? Jet? What's his name for the Kansas City Chiefs?
McKinnon.
They're going to use him in that Mecole Hardman, Jerry McKinnon role to start off. They're going to keep him. His ass going to be on the move. Andy Reid going to be hella creative for him. He won't even have to face that much at the line of scrimmage being pressed. And even with that, he's so goddamn fast. I think that's not going to be that much of an issue because they're not going to run that much man. They don't run that much man like that in the NFL anymore anyway. So I think that's a great pickup for them. I think Worthy. I didn't have him in my top 5 wide receiver. Did I have him top 5 wide receiver? I have to go back and look, but he's definitely in top 5 wide receiver. He might be 4, to be honest, with him being with the production that he's going to put up with the Kansas City Chiefs. Because I also think that they're going to use it in the Mecole Hardman and McKinnon role this year. And then once your boy leave, Hollywood go, now you can put his ass back to the outside if we want to and make him run because we know he can do that. Let's get him understanding these routes and our concepts this first year with those small screens and sweeps and crossing routes. Then we'll take his ass over the top. I think he could have went to a better place. I think Worthy, wherever he is, should be your number 4 wide receiver off of the board, in my humble opinion.
Okay, and now the next guy that we are talking about. Nobody saw this person coming.
Ooh, did not. We should let Monday go first. I have to go first. Let him go first. But go ahead with the name.
So I'm just gonna give a little speed, and I'll go last on this one. We are talking about Mr. Ricky Pearsall, wide receiver from Florida, going to the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah, take it away.
So I'm a 49er fan, and this pick made zero sense to me at the time it was made.
I haven't even looked at him yet.
It still doesn't fully make sense to me for the pick to have happened when it happened. It's not that I was against us taking Ricky. It was that I didn't know if he was the first round pick that we needed to make. That being said, I love the talent. I love the route running. He's very sure-handed, not many drops. He's a great route runner. Surprisingly sneaky athletic. I just don't know where he's going to fit in this offense. Rumors are still circulating that the Steelers are trying to get one of the wide receivers from the Niners, but from what John Lynch said, like nobody's been within the ballpark of what they're worth. So if they don't get dealt, I don't know what role he would play. Special teams, that, and there's a high chance that he does, play special teams just because of what we got. But the 49ers have 11 wide receivers on their roster right now. So
Jeez.
a lot of those guys, and surprisingly enough, if you've paid attention to the 49ers draft process, whenever they take two of a position, usually the one that they take first is the one that does not make the team. So if you remember, so we take it back a couple years. It was like Jalen Hurd got drafted and Juwan Jennings, and we keep Juwan Jennings. Jalen Hurd ain't even in the NFL no more. We took Trey Sermon and we took Elijah Mitchell in the same draft. Elijah Mitchell was like a 6th-round pick. Trey Sermon was a 3rd-round pick. Trey Sermon bounced around to another team. Ty Davis-Price, 3rd-round pick. Jordan Mason, undrafted. We kept Jordan Mason. And so in this draft, we did take another wide receiver as well, who is also a route runner. And
what's his name?
Crowning.
Jacob Cowing.
Cowing from Arizona.
There you go, Cowing.
Oh yeah, somebody mentioned him. All right.
And Cowing, his film looks good too. So I'm not being on the 49ers. I'll tell you the things that can get you to make a team for other teams doesn't necessarily apply to the Niners. Kyle likes his wide receivers to be able to block. If you've ever watched a 49er game, you'll see our wide receivers blocking people into the sidelines. If you can't block, you ain't gonna play. I don't know if Ricky can block or not. I tried to find film on him blocking specifically for that reason, because I was like, if he can block, he'll make the team. I can't find anything with him blocking. He's not the biggest guy. He's an athlete at receiver, but he's not the biggest, strongest guy. So I don't know what his blocking is like. So he makes me nervous because, like I said, we still got Brandon Ayuk. We still got Debo as of now. We tendered Juwan Jennings. I don't think he's going anywhere. But he's a different type of receiver than so the way to look at this, it's like this. Ricky is more similar to Brandon Ayuk but he was also teammates with Brandon Ayuk. Right before he got drafted, he was working out with Brandon Ayuk. You don't really do stuff like that if you're thinking of trading Ayuk. Like, if Ayuk was about to be on the way out, I don't think he would be working out with the new draft pick like that. Um, there have been rumors that Debo was the one that was on the way out, which I can see because of his injury history, his lack of availability for the team. Um, if they line Debo on the opposite side of Ayuk, excuse me, if they line Ricky up opposite of Ayuk, that would be a mean situation for route running. It's going to be really hard for teams to defend against that because you still got to account for CMC and Kittle and stuff like that too. So that is the ideal situation, and if that happens, then he instantly becomes a a guy that you want to target. He instantly becomes a target. But that's if Debo is dealt or is no longer with the team. If Debo stays with the team, I don't know where to put him. Like I said, he could end up being just special teams. We need a good punt returner. So I'm on the fence about the pick because, like I said, for it to be a first round pick, I want it to be something that I know for a fact is going to be an immediate impact. And I feel like this is more of a Kyle Shanahan dream pick. Like, oh, I really, really like this.
I'm a genius.
Like like more than this is what the system needs type pick. So as far as the talent and the skill set, I love it. As far as the landing spot, I like it if Debo gets dealt. Aside from that, he makes me nervous. I just don't know if I don't know if I can draft him prior, I wouldn't draft him first round prior to one of those receivers being dealt. If one of those receivers aren't dealt, then he falls for me to mid-second or later. Being realistic.
Mid-second, even though you get that first round draft capital.
Because I just don't know how we would use him if we keep the other two. Like they're not. If Debo and Ayuk are still on the team, they're not. He's not taking either of their spots because they play such a unique role. Mm-hmm. He's a better athlete than Ayuk. He's faster than Ayuk. I wouldn't say he's a better route runner, but he's definitely faster. So, but yeah, but we're not going to use him as a deep threat. That's not what he was brought in to be. So if Debo and Ayuk are still there, it's like I don't know where we would use him that would justify me drafting him before the second round. And if I drafted him in the second round, it's solely because he's a 49er and because I'm banking on the future of eventually he's going to be something. Because eventually Debo or Ayuk is going to be gone.
Right.
Just may not be this year.
Okay, so I don't have much on Ricky Pearsall. I haven't get into my deep dive on him. I know he had a RAS score of 9.91. That's about all I can tell you. He ran a 4.41. He's a good route runner. His workout age was 21. He's a slot receiver. He can play the Z, the flanker. I don't know. I agree with your favorite Arthur. I don't know where he goes if they still have Ayuk and or Debo on the team. I don't know what Kyle was thinking. I did not have him rated as my 6th wide receiver, but he went in order as the 6th wide receiver. I don't know what to tell y'all on him. If if your favorite Arthur said he would have before the second round, yeah, even with that first round capital, man, I don't know. I don't know how he works. Fits into that offense with both of them are still there. I do think that you can get rid of Debo. Personally, I would get off Debo. That's just me. I would get off Debo and I would pay Brandon Ayuk. But that's just me. And I probably wouldn't have drafted Ricky Pearsall in the first. I would have drafted Corley in like the 3rd or 2nd, personally. But I digress. We're gonna see how smart Kyle Shanahan is.
Yes, we will.
So in our fantasy league, Debo was drafted in the second round. No, was Debo? No, he was first round. He was late first round. Debo was late first round, and Ayuk was first round as well. And I just with those two still being on the team, I would think, yeah, second round is the highest I would go for him, and that's I don't know. That's just based off of what is currently on the team. But
Okay.
the Florida man, come on, Florida man. We know you like to watch Florida sports, so you might know something we don't know.
Yeah, Ricky Pearsall is an exceptional wide receiver. He actually can block.
Oh, exceptional.
Um, I will say this with Ricky Pearsall. Currently right now he probably will be y'all's punt returner, probably starting off. Um, I know they do have him slotted as the third wide receiver in y'all system right now. I don't know how Kyle Shanahan actually does. His system. I don't know if they're actually going to run three wide receiver sets. Me personally, because I know they like having Brock Bowers. Like you can talk more on that, but in him being the athlete who he is, I can see him actually getting on the field early and actually doing something and turning some heads. One guy personally, I probably will take him up in the high second rounds,
Mm.
potentially at 2.02 or 2.03 range.
Uh-oh, you know what that means? He gonna take him in
Um,
112 right in front of you.
just just putting it out there. I'm really high on Ricky Pearsall. I think he landed up in a great situation. Not overthinking what Kyle Shanahan is doing. I'm personally really thinking that Kyle knows that one of those two guys are going to be gone next year. He just wanted to get a guy into his system that he can mold into the image that he wants to see as his wide receiver. But I also think that's the reason why they did get the second wide receiver as well in Mr. Jacob Cowing because of the type of player he is. He isn't tall, but he is quite shifty a little bit, similar to what your favorite author was saying about Debo. So one of the wide receivers will be gone. We don't know which one it is, or if none of them goes. If they both stay, we will see what happens. But one wide receiver will be gone by next year. And based off of that, Ricky Pearsall will just slide right in there, and so will Jacob Crowning. Uh, yeah, I'm high on Ricky Pearsall, but that's just me. We'll go to the next player, the last and not but least. We are going with Mr. Xavier Leggette, Mr. X Man himself. For the Carolina Panthers, end up picking him up in the last pick in the first round. It's going to be interesting what Mr. Leggette's going to bring to the table. They already have him penciled in as the third wide receiver, behind Adam Thielen and Dante Johnson.
Let's see Adam Thielen rank high, bro. What they doing?
Yeah, but you also got to think like the veteran presence that Adam Thielen has. Xavier is probably going to be the deep threat for them, which is the same similar situation that we saw. Jonathan Mingo is still a project, and he is eventually. I see Jonathan Mingo taking over Adam Thielen's position once his contract ends up getting done. You already know my philosophy, Kris. I mean, Mr. K Kent, when it comes to wide receivers and then in their situations, they got 3 years to prove themselves. By the third year, if you don't prove yourself, then you are gone. You are off the team. But I say in the third year, he will prove himself. He will end up vaulting up, and the wide receiver duo between Xavier Leggette and Mr. Jonathan Mingo, and determining if they do want to re-sign Dante Johnson next year. It's going to be good and amazing, and just getting Bryce the weapons that he actually need. That's all I'm going to talk about. Pretty much, if we're talking about where to draft Mr. X-Man, I say he can either go late first in a rookie draft, or he could possibly go high second round. The reason why I'm saying that is because we have not talked about any other positions yet. We're just talking about the first round right now. But that's all my thoughts for Mr. Xavier Leggette. Go ahead, Mr.
So,
Your favorite author. I know you're over there taking notes and everything.
He is.
Yep, he is.
no, I already got all my notes in. So I don't know where I fall on Leggett yet. Leggett.
It is Leggette.
Leggett. I don't know where I fall on him yet. He has number one potential.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how strongly I feel about his overall skill set. He was a day two receiver in my book. I imagine he was going to go in the second round sometime, which the Panthers were in the second round. They traded up. I don't know. And this could be me because when I looked at his tape, I didn't see too much difference between him and Mingo. There are some athletic traits that they both have that are unique to both of them. But I mean, because if I remember correctly, Leggett, he didn't really break out until his last year, right?
Correct. His fifth year senior. Yep.
And so, I take that into account. It's like, okay, it took you a while to kind of really break out. When I watch the tape, do I see anything that really wows me like that? I mean, he has those moments. I think he has good body control. I think he can be aggressive to the catch and stuff like that. These are things that are important, but there's nothing that I saw that made me say, like, aside from him being drafted in the first round, is he a first round talent in fantasy? Would I take him in the first round in fantasy? And the answer for me is no. I wouldn't take him in the first round in fantasy. And this is funny because I took Jonathan Mingo in the first round in fantasy last year.
Yes, he did.
But what I saw in Mingo. So I'll say this: if Leggett had came out last year and Mingo came out this year, I would be saying kind of the same thing. I would have probably taken Leggett early because I would have been like, oh, he's got to be the guy because they're drafting him, where they're drafting him and they don't have anybody else. So he's got to be the guy. I think both of them, like Christian was saying, in time, they're going to be the duo. That's going to be the 1-2 for Bryce. And he's going to grow with them and they'll eventually get there. I just don't know what Leggett is going to do this year. Like, I could see 800 yards being within the realm of possibility. I don't know where I would. In fantasy, I probably would take him in the second round if I needed a receiver. He could disprove everything I'm saying, though, but from what I saw on tape, there was not enough that stood out for me to be like he doesn't do. Excuse me, he doesn't do anything way better than any of the other first round wide receivers that, like, going through all of our first round receivers, our top three guys are alphas, right? Odunze, right. Harrison, and Neighbors are alphas. And then we go to Worthy, and Worthy is a speedster. And we go to Pearsall, and Pearsall is a nasty route runner. And, Brian Thomas has athletic traits that make him stand apart. And so it's like, what does Leggette do that would set him apart in the first round of receivers? And I don't think he does anything particularly better than anybody. I think he's just a good combination with a nice physical build. So he's got the build of the receiver that you want. He's got good athletic traits, and he's a good receiver. And so I think that's why he was the next guy up. Like, there wasn't, and I feel like there's some guys that were drafted after him that you could probably argue could have went before him, like, maybe a Lab McConkey or something like that, depending on the system or depending on where he went. I don't dislike Leggette. I just I probably won't take him first round in fantasy. Like, he's a second round talent for me in fantasy. I would probably go another position before I would draft him first round in fantasy. Like, if I had to choose between Leggette and a quarterback, this is probably where I would say, okay, this might be where I would take a quarterback if I need one instead of going with Leggette. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. So yeah, Leggette, he had a RAS score of 9.9. He only had 2 drops in his career. It might have been the last year. But I see him. I was shocked that they moved up to get him. I didn't have him as my wide receiver 7. I had him as a second round talent, just as the other two said. But props for them going after to get somebody. I can see him. His comp to me is AJ Brown. So if he can be AJ Brown, as he is for the Eagles or even with the Titans. Shout out to Bryce Young and the Panthers. I just didn't have him as a first round talent. He's got gear, he's burst, like you said, but he's just he's a late breakout. So you kind of don't know, is that a fluke or is it him growing and getting better? They finally also got a good quarterback in Spencer Rattler, but yeah. So 6'1", 221, run a 4.39, 40-inch vertical. 10-6 broad, that's nothing to sneeze at. Athletically, he's that guy. Athletically, so we're gonna see if he can do it. He's got strong hands.
He was the second or third most athletic receiver.
He probably was the second because the RAD score is 9.90. They got Ricky Pearsall at 9.91. But I want to say like Brian, he might have.
What did Adonai? What did AD have?
9.98. So he must be the third then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He was like the third. So it's like he's up there, but he's not. You wouldn't say like I'm signing him purely off of the athlete, because if that was the case, they could have just went AD, right? And so he's not the best route runner. If he was one of the top route runners, it's like he's good enough at everything, and he's got the physical build as a receiver that you will be like, you know what? Maybe we can polish a few things and make him into the guy that we want him to be. But just based off of what he presents already, like we said, I second round for me is where I kind of would have grabbed him at. But if he does become that AJ Brown, then I'll be eating my words. So
wouldn't be the first time.
He a big boy. He built like AJ. So.
That'd be the first time ever.
What's up?
First time ever. I ain't never ate my words. Name another time. Can't even do it. See there?
Slander on Pat Mahomes. You eat them every year, it seems like.
That is different. That is hate. That is pure hate. That's a different situation. I'm gonna hate on him no matter how many. No matter how many rings he gonna get hate from me. And now he gonna get more hate because my nephew gonna be playing against him twice a year.
And you gonna get even more hate because you gonna draft receiver come Saturday. Sunday. Think about like,
who knows?
I gotta get worthy. I don't want this, but I'm gonna have to go and do it. I ain't gonna fool.
Who knows?
Who knows? You're gonna have a big decision on your hand. The draft The draft starts with you. What Jim Marvin said, the draft starts at me at 5. The draft starts with you. What you gonna do? Him is the head to hold that pressure. Right.
Yeah, well, this was the recap of the first round.
2 hours and 10 minutes.
Actually, it's a long one too. So we would like to thank your favorite author for coming on, giving his analysis. We greatly thank everybody listening this far. If you listen this far, you are a real one, and we are very thankful for you listening this far. We also want to give a shout out to all our replay squad and hashtag replay gang. We greatly appreciate y'all as well. I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna hand it over to my co-host. Let him do what he does at the very end. So go ahead, Mr. K Camp, take it away.
2 hours and 10 minutes and counting. Hey, we thank y'all for coming out. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with us. We greatly appreciate that. Spread love, not hate.
Spread love, not hate. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and then tell your buddies.
Yeah.
We out.